Hello, everybody, and welcome back for the final run of the event. We have Leaf running Pokemon FireRed, LeafGreen, 80% glitchless. Take it away.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Leaf, and welcome to the Pokemon Leaf Green, Pokemon Fire Leaf Green, 80% glitchless speedrun. Before I get into the run, there's a few things that I think I should mention that'll help. First off, I started running this game back in 2020. It was the first speed game that I've tried in the first category, and it really got me to love speedrunning and really get into like different communities, not just Pokemon, but like Super Mario and stuff like that. And um, I actually stopped playing for a very long time. And my first run in a very, very long time, probably like at least a year and a half, maybe, was just a couple days ago when I was practicing for this event. So I'm really excited to be back to running this game. Um, I've had some good practice, and I think I can explain everything to the best of my ability. And I'm really excited to be here to show off the run and everything that goes into playing as fast as possible. So one last thing, I will be loading this save game at some point, like maybe like 2 minutes into the run after starting a new game. And the reason for that is because to run through this game fast, you have to have a Squirtle with very specific IVs. And IVs are what determine your stat gains when you level up. And you have to have a specific nature as well. And these, of course, when playing casually, they're basically random. But there's actually programs that we use as speedrunners. We use to to have our trainer ID, and by inputting our trainer ID into an external program, we can find out what Squirtles will spawn when selecting a Squirtle in Professor Oak's lab. We can find out what Squirtles will spawn on what frames, and it's a 1 frame window to get this Squirtle. So the majority of streams, at least ones that I've done, have been just resetting for Squirtles. So it's very inconsistent. And to make it even more inconsistent, there are NPCs that move during the first couple minutes of the game, and depending on how they move, the frame changes a little bit. Each movement you see an NPC do changes the frame by 1 to 2, depending on the type of movement. And sometimes the NPCs can move when they're off the screen. So it's actually impossible to be like really consistent with the manipulation. So to avoid me spending like half an hour doing the manip, I just have a save here. So I'll play up until the part where I get Squirtle, and then I will load the save and just keep playing as if it's one continuous run. So I just wanted to explain that before I started, just in case there's any like confusion as to why I'm like resetting randomly. Um, but yeah, I think we should start. Okay, let me just make sure everything is good. I think it is. Okay, so we'll start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, and for some reason, okay, there we go. I thought I checked my my last split like 5 times, but I guess it didn't. It didn't work. Okay, so here we go. So yeah, this is Fire Leaf Green. Um, it is the 80% glitchless category as opposed to the 80% glitched category, which became a thing last year, I think, with the discovery of a lot of glitches. That's really changed a lot of stuff. So starting out, we name ourselves A. You kind of just want to name yourself one character because text scrolls at 1 frame per character in this game. So the less characters your name is, every time your name is said, it's less characters having to be printed out, and therefore it saves time. So starting usually, we would check our trainer ID. In this case, it's 44742. That won't be relevant during this run, but it's what you will see on PB attempts if you watch streams of this game. You usually walk around the left side of this house because there's more time where the NPC that is standing close to the water at the bottom of Pallet Town, there's more time where where he's not able to move, which can help with the consistency of the Squirtle manip that I mentioned before. So Oak is like, yo, don't go into the grass, it's dangerous. So he takes us to his lab, and he's there with our rival. And he's like, yo, needed to go out on this grand adventure. So this is where we get to choose our Pokemon. So we choose Squirtle for this run, is the fastest starter, although there are runs for Charmander and Bulbasaur respectively. So it is at this point that we name our Squirtle C. It doesn't have to be A, B, and C for us, our rival, and our starter, but I just like having it like that. So this is the part where I reset and I load from the save with the Squirtle already on it. So this is at the exact same point. So starting from here, we get our Squirtle and our rival challenges us to the first battle. So this battle is very straightforward. You just spam tackle and win. The three natures that your Squirtle can have for it to be a runnable Squirtle are Rash, Mild, and Modest. If your Squirtle is Modest, you have to Tail Whip turn 1 because Modest lowers your attack. And it ends up being faster and safer if you Tail Whip. But this is a Mild Squirtle, I believe, so we don't really have to worry about that. So it is just spam A and win. And critical hits were still a thing in the first fight. Back in Gen 3, and we actually have 2 in a row. That's a 1 in 256. So that's pretty cool. Usually you can tell if you've got the right Squirtle by the stat level ups, by like the stat gains when you level up from this fight. So this is usually when you would like reset. If the stats don't line up with what your program says, this is how you would know if you have the right Squirtle or not. You can also just go into your Pokemon menu and check, but it's not as fast. Okay, so Route 1, Pidgey and Rattata spawn here. We want to defeat one level 2 or level 3 of either Pokemon, and this is for XP later on. We want to have enough EXP to reach level 8 after a fight in Viridian Forest, which is coming up pretty shortly, because that is when we are at, like the stats just kind of work to fight Brock later on. So we want to get this potion from the Mart guy. He very kindly just hands it over. And this will obviously provide protection up until, I'd probably say up until the Misty fight, which is about 25-30 minutes into the run. After that, we start using like super potions and stuff like that. But for now, potions are all we have. So going through Route 1, we just like defeat one Pokemon and then we run away from everything else. And then once we hit Viridian City here, we go into the mart to get the parcel for Professor Oak that he asked us to receive or to get for him. And on the way back, it's the exact same thing. So we just run away from everything that we see. Can hop over the ledge like this. And this is actually a good time to explain how encounters work in this game. The first 6 tiles of grass, the first 7 tiles of Viridian Forest, and the first 8 tiles of any cave all have a 1% chance to spawn encounters after each encounter or cutscene. So a lot of the tiles that we're walking through at the start of like a route are very, very unlikely to spawn an encounter. When I was doing my practice runs earlier, I had a lot of 1% encounters, so hopefully we don't have those this time. But it's just very interesting how the game kind of doesn't want to spam you with encounters too much. So it says like, okay, for the first like few tiles, we'll like give you a break from everything like showing up at once. So here we get the Pokedex and Pokeballs, which will of course be very useful. In this run, we catch 2 Pokemon, ideally both on Route 1. We would need Pidgey for Fly and Rattata for Cut. So if we don't get Rattata or Pidgey, there are backup locations later on different routes that we'll have to just like stand there and just like spawn encounters until we find what we need. But if we do find something here, then we can just weaken it and catch it. Usually you want to attack once and then throw a Pokeball, which makes it a 62% chance of a catch. you can attack twice, and it goes up to 78%, which is probably what I'll do, just to kind of play it safe. And that is a 5% miss of tackle. This was before tackle became a guaranteed hitting move. It was still 95% in Gen 3. So this should be a 78% chance of a catch. So we should be okay. Good. Okay, so we usually want at least one of the two before we leave the route, which is, it's pretty common to find at least something before heading back up to Viridian City for the second time.
While we're on the road to Viridian City, would I be able to fit in a quick donation?
Yeah, sure.
All right, we have a $25 donation from Treed, leaving no comment, but thank you so much, Treed. We appreciate that.
So now we have this guy trying to teach us how to catch a Weedle. So let's just watch and see how he does it. Quick, this is usually a good time during PB attempts that you'll see different runners going to the washroom quickly or having a drink of water, something like that. It's one of two breaks, two quote-unquote breaks that we have. The second one's coming up once we reach Vermilion City. So that would be about 50 minutes into the run. There's like a 30-second break. So Route 2. So using what we know about how encounters can spawn this game, we actually cut through the grass here because it's a very low chance that we'll find an encounter, and it saves us walking 2 tiles. So that's pretty nice. So now that we're into Viridian Forest, there's a hidden antidote here that is not necessary, but I will take it just for the sake of safety. And yeah, we just want to go through the forest. We don't want to fight any Pokemon. We don't want to fight any trainers. We just want to collect a couple items, and then there is one trainer that we have to fight. But aside from him, we just go as fast as we can through here. So this is the second antidote. And we've actually been very lucky with the encounters. Usually we would find at least 2 by now. I actually had a run where I got through all of the tiles in Viridian Forest without a single encounter, which is very rare, I believe. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Sometimes the inputs in this game can not like register if you're going like quickly. So sometimes you'll like accidentally like open the bag or like hit like the wrong move or something, which can be kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. Okay, so we actually want to be on this tile specifically, like this like row, because there is a potion hidden in this grass tile. So this will be the first time that we save. I will be trying to save before every risky fight, because if we faint, until we get like revives and stuff, if we faint, the run basically ends, and you can't really recover it realistically. So I would rather save and have it be a little bit slower and be able to finish the run. So I'll be saving quite cautiously. So first turn of the Weedle fight, we want to switch Tail Whip and Tackle, which will be useful after Brock when we learn a new move. And then we want to spam Tackle. We actually kind of want to not heal the poison right away, which might seem strange, but the reason we do this is because of Squirtle's ability, which is Torrent. Now, Torrent is every starter has like its own like variant of it, but Torrent means when Squirtle is at 1/3 or below of its max HP, there's a 50% boost in water type move damage that Squirtle can do to every opponent, which helps us a lot, because if there's Pokemon that are a threat to us, we can kind of just okay, this is kind of risky actually. If there's Pokemon that are a threat to us, if we outspeed, we can just one-shot and not have to worry about it. And obviously that means that if a Pokemon was a 2-hit KO, it becomes a 1-hit KO, and that saves time. every turn is like 10 seconds or something, so it adds up to a lot of time over the course of the run. So a huge part of this run is just like HP management and just learning like how to do that. So here we actually want to let ourselves take damage from poison until 5 HP. And we do that because 5 HP is the perfect amount for this stat combination, for this like IV and nature combination, for Brock. Brock, of course, is a rock type gym leader, so we will be super effective against him with Bubble, and this will also allow us to keep Torrent for as long as we can. So walk into the gym, jamming out to the Pewter City music. We get close to Liam here, Camper Liam, I believe his name is, and we save again because Liam and Brock are both fights that very commonly end runs. Liam has a Geodude, which is not a problem, but he has a Sandshrew, which is usually it's a 2 to 3 hit KO, and his Sandshrew knows Quick Attack. I mean, no, his Sandshrew knows Sand Attack, which can be very annoying. It's very like rage-inducing sometimes. When he spams Sand Attack and you keep missing, and like you like lose a lot of time, and then he kills you with like Scratch or something. So I believe Scratch actually does 6 damage with this these stats. So that's why we want to be 7 at level 9. That's a good first roll. So we are basically guaranteed to 2-hit KO if we don't miss. And we don't. And we crit, so that's nice. So yeah. There are 16 different possible rolls every time you select a move in the game that the game can calculate, and the game randomly chooses one of the 16 rolls, and depending on the roll value, your damage value will change. So that's why in the future, during the run, if I talk about like ranges, that means that there's a chance that the roll will be good enough to 1-hit KO, and there's a chance that it won't be good enough, and they'll live with like 1 HP. And it's completely random. So it's just something that we have to hope that we get. There's actually a range on Brock's Onyx coming up. It's a 56% range to 1-hit KO with Bubble. So if we can get that, then that would be awesome. But if we don't, we can just heal with a potion. It's obviously quite slow, but it's consistent enough. So Onyx outspeeds us and uses Bind, which does put us into Torrent, but it's not the most amount of damage. Let's see if we get the range. We do. So yeah, that's good. We actually will, because it just saves so much time, and it's actually worth it just to stall some turns. So by swapping Tail Whip to turn 1 back in the Weedle fight, we can just spam A and teach Water Gun over Tail Whip without having to like scroll down in the menu when selecting the move to like overwrite with Water Gun. So we get the Boulder Badge from Brock, and he also gives us the TM for Rock Tomb, I believe, TM39. We actually won't have any use for TMs in the game, I believe, except from Water Pulse, which we are given to by Misty. Water Pulse becomes a very good move later on, but every other TM we can just kind of just like have, but not really use. Okay, so it's time to do some shopping. So we want to buy 8 potions, 3 antidotes, 3 awakenings, and 3 repels. So this will be for like the next, this will be good for us until Vermilion City, where we have to shop next. So up until now, we've been walking at a pretty slow pace, but thankfully, I believe our mom gives us the running shoes, and she sends one of Professor Oak's aides to help us out and give it to us. So now we can go super fast. I believe it's double the speed of walking. So there are, I believe there's 3 trainers we fight in Route 3, and they all have some sort of combination of like bug type Pokemon. So our hope is to get tackled and to just have Torrent. There is a chance that some of the Pokemon can use String Shot, which can be kind of annoying because after one String Shot, we are slower than every Pokemon, and we end up losing a lot of time. So we just want to just have Tackle the first turn, and then we are good to go. So that's the first trainer. We run around like this and talk to him. Throughout the run, we'll be talking. We won't be walking in front of trainers, but we'll try to talk to trainers as much as possible, because when you walk in front of a trainer, there's that like exclamation point, like animation that plays, and that takes like a second for every trainer that you fight. So talking to them instead of walking in front of them saves time, because that animation doesn't play. So that's why we talk instead of walk. So we just kind of spam water gun and just breeze through everyone here. Okay. Now I actually forgot. Okay, so I caught a Pidgey on Route 1. So that means that we need to... I actually won't have to worry about catching the cut Pokemon until after Mount Moon. In the grass after Mount Moon, there are Rattatas, and there's also Sandshrews. And Sandshrew is optimal because Sandshrew will allow us to learn Strength later on, close to the end of the run. We have to learn Strength to move some like boulders. And we would normally teach this to our starter, but the cutscene that plays when you are replacing a move with a different move takes more time than just learning a move from like an empty slot. And Sandshrew only knows 2 moves, I believe, when you catch it. So it actually ends up saving like 10-15 seconds if you end up catching a Sandshrew, because that like those like text boxes that's like, are you sure you want to like override this with this, doesn't really show up. So I'm going to do my first bag minute with that trainer right there. A bag minute is when you enter the bag or any menu and you exit out of it. Any trainer that spins or walks is frozen in place for, I believe, 32 frames, which gives you just enough time to walk past them without them seeing you. So it's actually like the perfect way to get past anyone that you don't want to fight, which is everyone except for one trainer. There's only one optional that we fight in the game. And we're actually about to fight him right now. And this is for EXP. For evolving into Wartortle. There's actually a few different trainers in Mount Moon that you can fight, and the one that you choose to fight is dependent on your HP, basically. It's dependent on your HP and if you're in Torrent or not. Usually you wouldn't fight this trainer. You would only fight this trainer if you are in Torrent, but this is the safest trainer because the one that you would normally fight can kill you, and has quite a few times for me personally. So it's just a bit safer just to have an extra couple turns, but just be guaranteed that we make it out of Mount Moon, because we don't get the revive until the end of Mount Moon. Our first revive item. And now that we've reached level 16, we will be evolving to Wartortle. So after this, we want to try to get back into Torrent, although it'll be pretty hard at this HP. But we can try. There's a few more fights in Mount Moon, and then we can get to Route 4. Okay, so our Squirtle evolved, and now we run and get this rare candy. We use a few rare candies over the course of the run, just for fast XP. And we make sure that that trainer that's walking doesn't see us because she has a Paris, and Paris are very hard to deal with with Squirtle. Plus, they can like give you like status effects, and it just really ruins the run if you get seen by her. Okay, so this is an item that you don't usually get during PB attempts, but we have to get the revive just in case we faint. And we just keep using the repels, and we perform the bag manip on this rocket member. And we just run all the way to the end of our moon. So so we have to fight this guy, and then we have to fight a scientist dude, and then we are let out of the cave. Okay. So ideally, we would want Rattata to damage us. Rattata has quick attack, which is a priority move, which means that it always goes first, even if you outspeed the Pokemon. If they have a move like quick attack, they will always move first if they choose to use it. The AI in this game is very random. If you're at 1 HP, they can sometimes just not attack you. They'll choose to use like Tail Whip instead of like Tackle. So we can use this to our advantage in some cases and just hope that they don't damage us. If we are like low HP and we're just like running without like being safe. just like going into a fight at like very low HP, just hoping that we don't get damaged. Okay, so we got damage that we needed from Grimer. Grimer actually has Disable, which can be very annoying because if Water Gun is disabled, it makes every Pokemon take at least one more turn to knock out with Bubble or Tackle. So he also has a Voltorb and a Coughing. Voltorb is a 56% range, the same as Onix was, to 1-hit KO with Torrent, with a Torrent Water Gun. And Coughing is an 87.5% range with Torrent Water Gun. So hopefully we get both. Okay, so we got the Voltorb range, but we missed the Coughing one, but he missed Poison Gas, so that's perfect. Poison Gas is kind of annoying because you have to go into the menu and heal it in most cases. So it's good that he missed. Okay, so now he lets us choose a fossil. We'll take the Helix fossil. We don't actually use the fossil, we just kind of take it because we have to. And we leave Mount Moon. So here I will actually take this optional hidden Great Ball, just in case we have a trouble with catching the Pokemon on Route 4. So here we actually want to learn Mega Kick, and it's a very good move, but a very bad move. It's good because it has 120 base power, and it can one-shot a lot of the stuff that we can't usually defeat in one hit. But the problem is it has 75% accuracy, which might not seem too bad, right? It's like, hey, like 3 out of 4 will hit. This is us looking for Sandshrew, by the way, and we have it first encounter. A 3 out of 4 chance to hit doesn't seem too bad until you start using it, and you miss so much more than 1 in 4. At least it feels like it. It's like a meme in the community how like how frustrating the move can be. So we just kind of have to hope that we hit every time. And it only has 5 PP, which means that throughout the run we'll have to be using elixirs to give us the PP, because like we just need the move for so many Pokemon. Speaking of using like elixirs and such, we actually don't go to a Pokemon Center in the whole run. We just use elixirs and we just heal with items. There's a hidden rare candy there which we need for we actually have to use it very shortly before we fight Misty. Okay, so entering the gym, we have to go into the bag, and first thing is heal to full HP, which 2 potions will do perfectly. Then we have to rare candy twice up to level 20. And along the way, at level 19, we learn Bite, which is very, very helpful. Because Bite is actually using our special attack stat instead of our attack stat, which so in Gen 3, whether a move was physical or special, which means it uses the Pokemon's attack stat to calculate damage versus the special attack stat. Whether a move was physical or special was not determined based off of if it makes contact with the foe, but it was determined solely on the typing of the move. So dark type moves and water type moves, so Bite, Bubble, Water Gun, Water Pulse, Surf, which we all use throughout the run, all are special. So that's why part of the IV requirements, part of the stat requirements for Squirtle, as we're doing the Squirtle Minute, is like the highest special attack that we can get, because it's just like so important to have the most special attack. That Staryu is actually, I believe it's a 93% range to 2-hit KO. So there's actually a chance that Staryu can survive that. With Starmie, we actually tackle instead of just biting twice, because if we bite and we miss the range, Misty will heal, and that costs quite a lot of time. So by tackling, we basically guarantee that the second bite will knock out Starmie. So that's just something that we do quite often as well during the run. We kind of try to be like strategic with our like move choices, because healing is always like the last thing that we don't really want Pokemon that we're fighting to be fully healed. So now we get Water Pulse from Misty, and we have to overwrite Tackle with it. Water Pulse is very handy because it obviously is more powerful than Water Gun, and it also has a 1 in 4 chance, or 1 in 5 chance, I believe, of confusing any Pokemon that it hits, which can be very helpful in some cases. We'll see if it actually helps later on. So now that we are getting close to the bridge connecting Cerulean City and Route 25, I believe it is, we have to save and also heal, because there is someone waiting for us. There is someone waiting for us as we enter, and that is our rival. So the second rival fight, probably the highest chance to lose the run out of any rival fight, because you have to hit a kick, and Bulbasaur has Leech Seed, and if it uses Leech Seed, it's very bad. So with Pidgeotto has Quick Attack, but if we just Bite and Water Pulse, Pidgeotto is almost always guaranteed to faint to that combination. So now Bulbasaur, we want to flinch, which is a 30% chance for Bite. We crit. Doesn't flinch, misses Sleep Powder though, so we don't even have to kick. We can just Bite twice. That is actually really good. Usually you would Bite, hope for a flinch, then kick. But we just crit Bite, so that's just perfect. Sleep Powder is a 75% accuracy, 75% accuracy move, I believe, as well. So it's pretty good that Bulbasaur missed that. Saves us a lot of hassle. Abra only knows Teleport at this point, so we can just Water Pulse and win, and Rattata isn't much of a threat either. So that is a very, very good rival too. That's almost as fast as you can have it. Okay, so he actually comes back and talks to us and gives us something. Fame Checker. Which is an item that we do not use. And then he leaves. And then we have 5 trainers to fight on the bridge, and then we have a Team Rocket member there to fight as well. So this part of the run is like very like, this is probably the most like boring part of the run. All we do is just spam A, and basically everything faints. And we do this for maybe it's like next like 5-10 minutes. It's kind of just sweeping through every trainer. So if there's any like donations or something, this would be a good time to say them, if there's any. This would also be a good time during like PB attempts to talk with chat and stuff. You don't really have to focus on the game too much, you just spam. So we just run from trainer to trainer, just talking to them from the side, because as I said before, we don't want the exclamation point animation playing. There is one Pokemon along the bridge that can pose a threat if you're like low HP. If you're below 8 HP, this Oddish can kill you with Absorb. If we miss a kick like we just did. Oddish is one of the Pokemon that we usually have to kick because it is the only move that we have that one hit KOs Oddish. The alternative would just be to bite twice, which is usually what I actually used to do, because it's just more consistent, and if you flinch, it's like almost like just as fast as using kick. Plus bite is guaranteed to hit, so there's no like worries about missing and then getting attacked. So Sandshrew here actually feints to bite, so we don't even have to use Water Gun or Water Pulse. And throughout the course of the run, you'll see me using bite and such, even when Water Pulse or Water Gun would do more damage, because if the move one-hit KOs, it's good to use the move that's not super effective against the opponent, because every time you use a super effective move, there's a text box that appears after the move saying it's super effective, and that usually takes a second and a half to like clear. So every move that shows up, we kind of lose time. So it's just faster to choose the move that can still one-hit KO, but is not super effective. There'll be a few times during the run that you might see me do that. Okay, so 23 out of 67 HP is, I believe, just out of Torrent. I believe we would have to be 1 HP lower to be in Torrent. But it's not too bad right now. Although we might want to get hit once from one Pokemon on the following route, because that will help us later on. It's not like necessary though, so we don't absolutely have to do it. So after the bridge, we get an item from this kind guy, and he asks us to join Team Rocket, which is kind of like suspicious, and he gets really mad when we say no. So then he's like, okay, I'll fight you to like prove to you that I can win or something. He's trying to like convince us to join Team Rocket. So he wants to challenge us. And he is very easy, so we just Water Pulse twice, just like everything else on this route. The item that he gives us is actually pretty useful as well, because you can sell it for a lot of money, and that money will come in very handy later on when I need to buy some more stuff. You don't usually sell the item, but with the route that I plan to take, I might need to buy a couple extra things just to be safe close to the end of the run. So that's why I'll be selling that when usually you don't. So there's actually a hidden elixir that you just saw me get above the first hiker that we passed, and we fight the second hiker, and we just Water Gun. We do a bag manip on that trainer because he can spin and see us, and he has a Slowpoke, which is not a guaranteed one-hit KO. So if you accidentally get seen by him, it can cost you quite a bit of time. So just being safe and opening the bag quickly is what you want to do. So just just making our way through everyone on this route, we talk to this guy. And then there's one more trainer before we get to Bill's house. And we have to talk to Bill because he gives us a very helpful item. So here we are trying to learn Rapid Spin, but we say no. The only two moves that we learn after this point of the run are moves that we can like find, basically. Not moves that like we like learn like naturally from level up. So like once you learn Water Gun, or I mean like once you learn Bite, you basically just use like TMs and such to learn everything. So we get that Oranberry, which can, in some cases, if we're too low HP and we want to heal 10 HP to still be in Torrent but be safe from Pokemon attacking us, we can use that Oranberry in some cases, because Oranberries heal 10 HP. And then we also time our run past that trainer who was walking up and down. He has 3 Pokemon, so to be seen by him is quite a large time loss. And we're missing kicks, so we now have to bite because we are out of PP. But biting is usually okay. So. Oddish usually just uses Sweet Scent anyways, so it kind of like takes some time, but it's not like a threat. Okay, Pidgey quick attacking there was actually pretty good, because we're pretty close to Torrent now. We are 1 HP out of Torrent. We are 1 HP too high, but that means that we are very close. So hopefully if we can get hit by something else, like quick attack from a Pokemon coming up, then that would be good. So we get to Bill's house, and he has turned himself into a Pokemon using his machine. So he asks us to help. He asks us to help him out, and we just press a key on the keyboard, and he becomes a human once again. And after this, he is very, very happy that we helped him out. And as a reward, he gives us the ticket for the boat in Vermilion City, which is where we have to go to next. So we actually run down this path, which allows us to avoid every trainer on the route that we just came from, which is very helpful. We just run down here, hop over the ledge, and into this house, which was blocked before, but now we can go through. And it's been robbed, probably by this guy, and he asked us to fight him. He has a Machop and a Drowsy. We would normally kick the Drowsy, but biting twice also works. And usually I would have like 1 PP for kick, but sadly we miss so many times that we actually don't have enough. And for now we just have to kind of bite twice. Okay, so after we defeat him, he gives us TM28, which is Dig, I believe. And then he runs away. So now we head down to Route 5, and we are going to take the underground tunnel to allow us to go underneath Saffron City, which we don't have access to until much later on in the game. And we'll go right to the town of the 3rd gym. So as soon as we come out on Route 6, we have to run up here and grab this hidden rare candy. and then we instantly use it, as well as using our ether to restore all of our PP for kick. And then we have to rare candy once to level 27. And then we have to avoid some trainers that are on this route. So we run like this, avoiding everyone and only talking to Camper Jeff, I think his name is, because he is mandatory to fight. And he actually has the Eradicate that I talked about earlier. I believe I mentioned it earlier, how we needed quick attack from Eradicate, or like a Rattata. And I believe he has Eradicate that has the chance to quick attack. So we will see if he does it. He does not on the first turn, but he misses tackle, which is kind of unfortunate. We kind of wanted that damage. But the 5% chance strikes again. But it's okay. We can just play it safe for the next fight. We kind of have to now because we aren't in Torrent. So here we have to buy 6 Super Potions, 3 Paralyzed Heals, and once again 3 Repels. So that'll keep us covered for the next portion of the run. So we get to the boat, we show our ticket, and we can go up to the 2nd floor and run all the way to the captain's room. But before we get there, we have to do a save because there is someone waiting for us on the boat. And his Bulbasaur is now an Ivysaur, so kind of scary. So he says hi and challenges us once again to a battle. So 3rd rival fight, not as hard as the 2nd one in terms of chance to faint. Because like you have like more like options at this point. You have like Super Potions and you have like more moves as well. So there's like more things you can do if you are at risk of losing the run. So I actually believe Vine Whip is not guaranteed. Vine Whip cannot one-hit KO us from this HP. The most they can do is 20. And although Bulbasaur does have status moves, it's not too bad. Being low HP though means that we have to Super Potion, because there are Pokemon after Ivysaur that can also do damage to us. So there's no reason to risk missing Kick like we just did. And then Vine Whip just kills us. So we kind of want to play it safe. We hit the Kick, and that's Ivysaur. So our rival's Abra... Oh, wait, no, wait, it's Raticate first. My bad. His Rattata evolved into Raticate, which we can one-hit KO with Water Pulse and Torrent. And his Abra has evolved into Kadabra. And Kadabra knows Disable. So we actually want to not use the same move that we just used, because if Disable hits, there's an extra text box where it says like, you selected this move, but it's like disabled. So we switched to Water Gun instead of Water Pulse, and Water Gun and Torrent still one at KOs. So to avoid the chance of a text box, if Disabled does a hit, we just switch moves. So now we talk to the captain, and he's feeling like sick, I believe. So he asks us to like rub his back or something, and he gives us the Cut TM, or the Cut HM. And using Cut, we can cut down a tree that is blocking the entrance to the Vermilion City Gym. But before we leave the boat, we have to go into this room because we can get a free heal from this NPC. And we would like to be at, we would like to have our full HP and full move PP for the next segment. So this is the second point of the run where you can run to the washroom as fast as possible if you have to go, or get a drink, something like that. If it's something like you have to do away from the game. There's about 25 seconds where you can just kind of be AFK. and this cutscene is fully automated. So once we are out of there, we have to go into our TM case, which we've assigned it to the select key, so we can just quickly access it instead of having to go into the bag, into the key items, and then selecting TM case, and then selecting the move. So we cut down the tree and we are in the gym. This gym has a lot of cans, and there are 2 switches hidden in some of the cans. The first switch is absolutely random, and the second switch is always adjacent to the first switch. So in this case, we have a corner can, which is the best can, because there's only 2 possible options for where the second switch can be. So we did not get the can, so we just reset, and now we know that the switch is in the bottom can. So that's why we save after the first can, because where the second switch is always stays the same, even if you save and leave the game. So we now know that the second switch is there, and we are now free to move on. So every time like we pass an NPC, we have to open the TM case to freeze them in place, just to avoid the chance of them seeing us and starting a fight. And we have to talk to this trainer who has 1 Pikachu. Thunder Wave is a possibility like that. So that's why we buy the Paralyze Heals when we entered the city in the first place, because that is always possible. So we just healed the paralysis, and of course we have to save. This is probably the hardest gym battle in the game, relative to how strong you are when you fight him. To when you fight them, because they have a Raichu. Lieutenant Surge has a Raichu, and it's pretty scary. It does a lot of damage, and it's faster than you, and at least I think it's faster. And it can just it has double team, so if you start missing, it can lead to a lot of time loss, and very likely the run just ending. A lot of runs end here. So I believe Shockwave, which is the move that Raichu has, will not knock us out. So if we hit through this double team, we have a good chance of winning. And we miss, so now we are basically hoping to get a critical hit. Oh, okay, this is probably a reset, but I will try to fight through. Yeah, I will reset that. It's basically impossible to win at that point, because we have to hit through paralysis, which is, I believe, a 50-50, and then 3 double teams, which is a second 50-50, I believe. So just making sure that my Pokemon's healed, and we just keep trying until we win. So Sonic Boom always does 20, and they survive the range. I believe it is a 62% range. I believe with my stats, or it's an 81% range actually. It changes depending on your exact IVs for special attack, but I believe it's an 81% for Voltorb. Pikachu is guaranteed to be knocked out in 1 hit. And then with Raichu, we have to hope that they cooperate. So we are... okay, we kind of have to crit, or we have to reset again. Yeah, this is a part that can lead to a lot of resetting, a lot of time loss. And this is kind of just how it is. There is a route for the speedrun that is, on average, a bit slower, but it's a lot safer. And it's called Late Surge. And it's where you go through Rock Tunnel, do a bunch of other stuff first, and then you fight Surge once you're already evolved to Blastoise. And he's very easy to beat. But it is a little bit slower, and I actually don't know that route. The main route that is usually used is this one, which is where you fight Surge at level 28, and it's very annoying sometimes. But hopefully this is the run. This Raichu loves using Thunder Wave today. Raichu very rarely does this for turn 1. Usually he double teams. But ooh, okay. He did not Shockwave a second time. I guess he didn't roll a Shockwave that would knock me out, so he didn't. But that one did. I believe it's a range to feint to 2 Shockwaves with our stat combinations. We are mild nature, and I believe we have like 20 IV special defense. IVs can go from 0 to 31, and 31's the highest, and is what you would prefer to have. And every Squirtle that you get for every attempt is different, because every attempt you have a different trainer ID, and with different trainer IDs you have different frames which different Squirtles will like spawn on when selecting a Squirtle at the start of the run, which means that every run is a little bit different, which is something that's quite unique to FireRed LeafGreen. In most other games, if you manipulate a Pokemon, it's always the same stats, because you manipulate the trainer ID as well. But in this game, I don't know if you can. I don't know if that's like something that can be done. So that's why it's always kind of random. And Surge is giving us a really hard time today. This is not normal. Usually, after a couple tries, you can like win. In terms of how we're doing on time, we aren't that far behind. Only like a few minutes maybe. So we're still looking decent for an estimate of 2:30. Unless we keep missing. So I actually mentioned how the AI in this game is like completely random, and they'll use moves regardless of if they think it can knock you out or not. That is only true for every trainer except for gym leaders, your rival, the Elite Four, Giovanni, and the champion. So like any like special trainers or like boss fights, they have like smart AI. So if they can calculate that their move will knock you out, they will always use that move. Which is why if we're 3 HP, we just reset, because Raichu always outspeeds and he'll always use Shockwave. So there's just no point of even seeing what happens. Whereas if
can I fit in a donation while Raichu's being a bit of a bully?
Yes.
All right. We actually got a $200 donation from Gravy saying, "This has been such a fun time. Thank you, Carter, Ahmad, and everyone for making it happen. Bouncy, bouncy." Thank you again, Gravy, for your very generous donation. And with that, we are actually $75 away from hitting our second stretch goal, which would be $3,000. We are so close.
Wow.
I would be ecstatic if we could get to 3,000 before the end of the marathon. So keep it up, guys.
Yes. That's awesome. And what something else that's awesome is that we actually won the fight. So that took us 5 attempts, I believe, which is definitely more than average for a run like this. Okay, so we are leaving the gym, and we have to go into a house in just a moment, because there's someone in this house that gives us the bike voucher, which we will use in Cerulean City to get a bike. And that, of course, makes us twice as fast as our running speed. So running is twice as fast as walking in this game, I believe. And biking is, I don't know if it's 50% faster than running or twice as fast as running, but it's obviously the fastest way of getting around, aside from flying. So we get the bike voucher, and we head up to Cerulean City. So we have to avoid everyone that we avoided the first time. Just kind of vibe with the music for a while. Run back this way, bump into the wall by accident. And now, since we have cut, we can cut down the street and get back into the city. And we run straight to the bike shop. Normally, this bike would cost 1,000,000 Poké Dollars, which is impossible to obtain in the game because the max you can have is 999,999. But with the voucher, we are good to go. So we actually switch out the TM case for the bike for the select hotkey because the bike is just way more useful. And for anytime we have to like freeze a trainer, we'll just use the bag from now on. Okay, so the first trainer on Route 9, her name is Alicia, I believe. And she has an Oddish, a Bellsprout, an Oddish, and a Bellsprout in that order. And I forgot to heal, so I'll do that now. I believe both of her Oddishes only know status moves and Sweet Scent. So they can't actually physically hurt us, but they can make us lose a lot of time. And of course, we have to use Kick for both Oddishes. So this is one of the more infamous fights in the game because of what is happening right now. I guess poison can hurt you, yeah. I kind of forgot about that. I thought they just had sleep powder and poison powder. I mean, what is it? The one that gives you paralysis. I don't know what it's called. A stun spore. That's it. So yeah, I'm actually not even going to try to kick anymore because we actually want to keep at least 2 kick PP for a rival fight coming up soon. I mean, relatively soon. So if we waste it on Oddishes, then we won't get to do a certain strat for the 4th rival fight, which I would like to try out. So I will be voluntarily biting instead of kicking. So the Oddishes are kind of a pain, but the Bellsprouts are 1-hit KOs. And after this fight, we have to open the bag so that this this trainer doesn't see us, the hiker. And we bike like this right into the path of this bug catcher. And now we can just bite, and water pulse the Caterpie, Weedle, and Venonat. This Venonat is actually a 37 to 43% range. So it is a 6 in 16 or a 7 in 16 chance, depending on your special attack. There's a hidden rare candy here that we always collect. And we actually cut this tree down instead of going below and around this route because there's a trainer down there that has 2 Pokemon. So it's faster to do this. There's a hidden super potion in that wall that I just collected, which is just used for just safety. It's not usually collected, but for safety's sake, I believe it's important to get. Now, we're in Rock Tunnel, which is very, very dark because we don't have the TM for Flash, which you would normally get after seeing 10 different Pokemon. You can talk to one of Professor Oak's like scientist like helper people close to Route 2, close to Viridian City, and he'll give you Flash. But you have to go through the Diglett Cave for that, and it takes a very long time, and we can just memorize the layout of Rock Tunnel, which is what we do. Once you've memorized it, it's actually not that hard to get through. It's actually a lot more simple than it looked to me the first time I saw someone go through it without Flash. There's like 5 different rooms, and it's pretty like standard, like the way you move. Like you like go all the way down to a wall. Once you've hit the wall, you go down. So like it's not really like that hard. But we are seeing some Slowpokes, and the first Slowpoke that we saw from the last trainer was a 68% chance to faint to bite in 1 hit. And this one is a, what is it? It is a 1 in 16 or a 3 in 16, depending on your special attack IVs. So I'm saving in front of this specific trainer because her name is, because she has a Bulbasaur and an Oddish. So 2 of the Pokemon that we have to kick, usually. And Bulbasaur knows Razor Leaf, which has an increased crit chance. It's a 1 in 8 instead of a 1 in 16, so it's kind of scary. And yeah, and Razor Leaf does quite a lot of damage, even without critting. It does, how much does it do? It's like 20 something usually on average, so we have to be careful. So usually I would be kicking, but I'm just biting. And it worked out, so that's good. We were poisoned, but we can just heal the poison, like right now. Actually, something I want to do is actually let the poison hurt me a bit, because I would like to be closer to Torrent. Okay, so let's heal the poison now, at about 33 HP. Have to find my way through the cave. Talk to this guy. He has 1 Geodude, which we water gun with ease. Yeah, water gun. For some reason, I thought we bit. Go up this way. Go down here, talk to him. So like a lot of like the movements in in Rock Tunnel are like usually just like going in like a straight line until you hit something that you like recognize, and then you go a different way. So once you've memorized it, it's pretty good. Level 31, he Wartortle wants to learn Protect, which we say no to. It's actually faster in most cases if you're doing like PB attempts to bite the first Onix instead of water gunning, which might seem strange because they're the same Onix, like both Onixes, but why wouldn't you bite the second one? The first Onix has a minus special defense nature, which allows us to bite and have it be a pretty likely range to knock out the first Onix. But the second one has a neutral, the second one does not have a minus special defense nature, so bite does not knock out the second Onix in one hit. And we use bite instead of water gun because the super effective text that I mentioned before. It is a range though, it's an 81% chance, so there's a chance that you might just miss the range and end up costing yourself more time. But if you're going for like really fast times, it's usually something that you would always try. Okay, so we have to go this way. We have to keep using the repels. I meant to talk to him. I was 1 tile too far down. Also, I just realized my stream is actually... I believe my stream is also going on... my channel as well, because in my chat over here, I actually see some of my viewers that usually come in my stream saying hi. So if you can hear me, I'm actually doing a run for a speedrun marathon. So I'm sorry if I like wasn't like talking to you. Sorry if I like accidentally didn't like see your messages, because like I see them talking in the chat. Maybe they don't. I didn't like label that I was doing this, so. So we have to go past, we have to do that exactly. Okay, that was really good. that one trainer that we saw before we went up the ladder there, it's pretty easy to run into them because you kind of like can't like see like where you're going. So it's you can like hit into him, and he has like quite a few Pokemon, so it's kind of a hassle to accidentally have him spot you. Being poisoned is actually pretty good because we can now use this to get into Torrent. And also, this is the last trainer in Mount... I keep saying Mount Moon. This is the last trainer in Rock Tunnel that we'll have to face. Okay, so now that we are almost out of Rock Tunnel, we heal the poison. And we go like this. Okay, so now we are on the other side of Rock Tunnel, and we are into Lavender Town. So we have to go to the mart right away and buy 2 things, which will get us to the end of the game. We have to buy 4 escape ropes, and we have to buy 7 super repels. So those escape ropes and super repels will last us till the very end of the run. So heading on to Route 8, there's 1 trainer we have to fight, and then we can head into Celadon City, which is where we have to go next. Unlike the Gen 1 Pokemon games, being at low HP as to being in like red health on your like HP bar does not make the game go faster. In Gen 1, it actually makes it go faster because there are different like sound effects that would normally play, but the beeping of the low HP bar takes priority over those sound effects. And when the sound effects don't play, it actually makes the game go faster because less sounds need to be played before the next like animation plays in a battle. But in this game, that's not the case in the remakes, so we kind of just have to hear some beeping sometimes. So now that we're in Celadon City, we have to go straight to the game corner and talk to this Team Rocket member in front of the poster. And once we defeat him, he will give us access to the basement of the game corner. So since we're in Torrent, we can just kind of sweep through every Pokemon. Okay, so we talk to the poster and flip a switch. And now we have access to the hideout. So we want to make sure that we do not get seen by that trainer because he has 5 Pokemon. He's probably the worst optional trainer to hit in the run in terms of time loss. The most costly. So we just run on these tiles that force us to spin. And we get the black classes, which is very important because the black classes increase your dark type move damage by 10%. And as I said before, bite is a dark type move. So that'll actually come in very handy during a fight later on. Multiple fights, but one fight, like, especially.
I have to jump in here with this donation because it's really important. We just got to $3,000 with the donation from Genosa for $75, just saying Carter one sip. We made it, guys. We got to $3,000. We broke 2 stretch goals. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for all the support we've gotten for Child's Play Charity today. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you to everyone who's donated, and to everyone who's been part of the marathon. Okay, so we get the lift key, and now we can get access to the elevator, which is located on the other side of the building. We run like this, making sure not to be seen by the NPC. We collect the moonstone because it is physically in our path. We don't actually use the moonstone, we just kind of have to collect it because we cannot actually progress with the item in the way. Then we run this way, collect this calcium, which might be useful later on for money if we have to sell it to buy some. If we have to sell it to buy some extra items, coming up pretty shortly. Actually, within the next like 10 minutes, we'll be doing a massive shopping spree, buying everything that we need for the rest of the game. All of like the extra items. Like X items and such, which will be very, very useful for a lot of like mid to like late game fights. It's very useful to have X items because you can like set up items on like the first Pokemon of the fight that can't really damage you, and then you just like sweep their team, which is a pretty common theme for going as fast as possible in the late game. So, talking to both of the Team Rocket members, we have to defeat both of them before we have access to Giovanni. We can just water gun all these Pokemon. And for Arbok, we just Water Pulse. Okay, so we are at level 36 now, which means that we will evolve. We will evolve right now. And upon evolving, we get 14 or 15 HP added to our like total HP, which also gives us 14 to 15 current HP, which means that we will be, I believe we'll be just out of Torrent, but that's actually perfectly okay because we want damage from Giovanni in the next fight. So we walk up to him, say hello. He's like really mad at us for breaking in to his hideout. And so he has 3 Pokemon. He has an Onix, a Rhyhorn, and a Kangaskhan. Kangaskhan is the one that is the problem, usually. And Kangaskhan is the one that we usually stall on to deal damage to us. Okay, so Kangaskhan is a 3-hit KO without Torrent Water Pulse. With Torrent, it's a very, very likely, it's a 98% chance for a 2-hit KO. Okay, that's actually, okay, I know I said I wanted damage before, but I'm pretty sure this is like perfect HP, now that I actually think about it. You don't have to be in Torrent for the next part, but you want to be at least like 40 HP, but close to Torrent. Because there is a part coming up where you plan to take damage as you are setting up items on the next fight that we fight. So we get the Sylph Scope, which is going to be useful for when we enter the Pokemon Tower back in Lavender Town. And now we have to go into this building and talk to this NPC who gives us tea, which will be very useful for gaining access to Saffron City later on. So we bike to the department store, and we have to take the elevator to the 5th floor and buy a lot of items. There's actually an item that I have to sell as well to have enough money to buy everything that we need. So we talk to this person, and we want to sell this for 5,000 Poké Dollars. And now we want to buy 1x attack. We want to buy 7x speeds. We want to buy 20x specials. We want to buy 7x accuracies. And we want to buy 4 guards. So now that we have this, we are able to have all the items that we need for all of like the battling for the whole game. So these will be used on the first turn, as I said before, to set up on hard fights. Okay, so now we head west of Celadon, and we see this tree. We have to cut it. Avoid the double battle right there. And go into this house, where we will find someone who will give us HMO2, which is Fly. So this speeds things up dramatically. So once we leave the house, we have to do a lot of stuff. We have to teach Fly to Pidgey. Then we have to Super Repel. We have to equip the black glasses. Switch it out for the Person Berry. We want to toss the Moonstone. And then we fly to Lavender Town. The reason that we toss the Moonstone is for faster menuing. If we need to scroll through items, if there's no Moonstone, then it's like one less item that we have to scroll through to get to something that we need to use during a battle. So it's like a very, very small time save, but it might add up over the course of the round. And the reason that we had that Person Berry on Blastoise before was in case we got confused at any point during the run before this. Person Berries instantly heal Confusion, and Staryu and Starmie, back during the Misty fight, both have Water Pulse, and they can confuse you, so that's why we have that. Just in case it didn't make sense to why I had that on Blastoise. So first, we have to use this to protect us from Sand Attack, if Pidgeotto decides to use it. Then we use the X accuracy. And Pidgeotto during this time is just lowering our HP slightly each turn. And we X attack. And now we can just attack. So now we just attack and win. We are strong enough to defeat every Pokemon that he has. So after using Dex Accuracy, Kick goes from 75% to 99%. So there is still a 1% chance of missing, but hopefully that doesn't happen. Also, that guard item that we used on the first turn also protects us from Gyarados' Intimidate. So Gyarados' ability that cuts our attack in half, it also protects against that. So if we had Intimidate from Gyarados, using Kick would not have one shot. But if we have Intimidate on Growlithe, which we just had right now, we are still strong enough to be okay. It's just Gyarados that it's a problem for. And plus, we use special moves on Growlithe and Kadabra anyway, and Intimidate only has regular attack moves. So Kick is the only move that we have that would be affected by that. So that's the second reason why we have the guard, instead of not just for the accuracy from Sand Attack, but from Intimidate. So walking through the Pokemon Tower, we just avoid everyone, and we have our Super Repel active, so we will not be getting any encounters from Ghastlies or Cubones, which spawn here. We get the Elixir, which will be helpful later on, of course, for restoring our move PP. We Bag Minute this NPC. And we have to fight 3 trainers in the tower before getting to the top floor, where there are some Team Rocket members we have to deal with. So this part of the game is also pretty standard. We just kind of spam A. If we're in Torrent, we just spam Water Gun. If we're not, we spam Water Pulse. At least on the Haunter we do. I believe the Ghastlies that we'll encounter can also faint to Water Gun without Torrent. Okay. So this is a pretty chill part of the run. Once again, there's not really much going on. I'm trying to think of if there's anything that I should explain during this part. Probably not. We'll see if I think of something that I forgot to say before. So there's a rare candy there that we always collect. And then we are attacked by a ghost, which, using the help of the Sylph Scope that we got from Giovanni, is revealed to be a Marowak. And Marowak faints to 1 Water Pulse in Torrent. And we just so happen to have 1 Water Pulse PP because I forgot to Elixir back in the Rocket Hideout, which I should have done. And that was almost really bad because Water Gun Torrent does not 1-hit KO, and we could have fainted there. So I will actually Elixir now. I was supposed to do this earlier. Okay. So you may remember me talking about the exclamation point animation that the NPCs do and how it's faster to walk up to people rather than having them walk to you. This is the only time in the game where it is the exact same amount of time, I believe, because the NPCs, because first you would have to walk up to them, you can't run up to them, so it's the exact same speed as them walking to you, and the exclamation point animation is kind of cancelled out by the walking that you would have to do after you fight them, walking back to the center of the room. And plus, every NPC walks out of the room after you defeat them, so being in their way by walking up to them and talking to them from the side actually makes them have to walk 1 extra tile, so it ends up being about the same amount of time to just go straight in this case, rather than talking to everybody. And that's the only time that we do this throughout the run. Okay, so these 3 Rocket members, I believe we just use a combination of Water Gun and Water Pulse, and we win. So they aren't really that much of a threat. The 3rd trainer that we're about to fight does have a Rattata and Eradicate, and they both can quick attack you. So if one of them quick attacks, I might have to heal just to be safe, because a second quick attack, especially with a critical hit, would knock us out. Usually you just risk it though, if you're just running typically. You wouldn't usually play it that safe, but I just want to be sure that everything goes right with this. So the first one does not quick attack, the first Rattata, so we are basically guaranteed to be okay. We actually don't want quick attack from either of them because of our HP, and we don't get quick attack from either, so that's perfect. So level 39, and we're at 26 HP, which is well within Torrent, and we can level up while still being in Torrent, because each time you level up, you get 3 HP, but your max HP also goes up by 3, but the ratio increases, so eventually you will level out of Torrent. So you have to be careful about that as well. So we talked to Mr. Fuji, and he gives us the Poke Flute, which we will use to wake up a certain sleeping Pokemon in about 30 seconds. So now we go this way. We bike as fast as we can west. And we talk to Snorlax. And when we play the music to wake him up, he's like really mad that we woke him up. And he attacks us. But luckily, we have the power of the run button that we can use, and we just run away. So Snorlax walks away, and we now have to do 2 bag manips on these bike trainers. Just like, oh, that was a crazy mistake. Okay, I did not realize he was looking to the right. We can just Water Pulse Torrent. We'll be okay. So that's one optional trainer. And I just hit him because I didn't realize he was looking to the right. Usually there's only 2 you have to like look out for. And I guess I just didn't realize. But it's okay because we have enough move PP to deal with them. Okay. So now I have to do this one more time just to be safe. And now we're onto the cycling road. So on the cycling road, there's 2 items you have to get. The first one is a rare candy, which is located right at this signpost. And the second one is right before the end of cycling road. It's right here. It's a max elixir. So those 2 items will be very helpful. Will be very helpful later on. And that's all that there is to cycling road. So now we're in Fuchsia City, which is home to the next gym we have to face. But first, we have to get a very special item, or 2 special items from the Safari Zone. So we pay the entry fee, and we actually are going to Super Repel, as to not get any encounters in the Safari Zone.
While we're going through the Safari Zone here, can I get a quick donation in?
Yes.
We got a $20 donation from Monker saying, Carter, thank you for doing this for all the kids that are having to deal with such hardships at a young age. Hopefully we can bring some joy into their days and allow them to be children. Also, Raichu the best, and Carter is a dog. No, it says Carter is a bear. There you go. Thank you, Monker, for the $20 donation.
So as we are in the Safari Zone, there's a full restore that we have to get, which we will need fairly soon. That will help us. And aside from that, we just bike as fast as we can through all the grass, getting to the final section of the Safari Zone, where we can find the gold teeth, which we will have to give to the warden after the next gym fight. And he will give us a very special item in return. There's also a hidden revive that you just saw me get. So once again, just getting as many revives as possible, just in case stuff goes wrong later on. And for getting to the end of this, for getting to this like secret house in the Safari Zone, the NPC is really happy and gives us HMO3, which is Surf. So we will use that right away. And aside from, instead of just like retiring from the Safari Zone, we actually fly out of the Safari Zone, which is something that I did not know you could actually do for a long time in the game. I used to just like bike out of this. I used to retire and then bike to the gym, but you can just fly to the Pokemon Center. So it's actually like a lot faster. When I first started playing the game and like running the game, I didn't realize that you could do that. So that's pretty cool how you can just skip some biking. So as we are bag manipping that first trainer, we actually teach Surf to Blastoise. And Surf is like the best move because it's very powerful, has 15 PP, so it's not too low, and it's just very good. So this trainer is just 4 Pokemon, and in Torrent, Surf deals with all of them very easily. Now we have to wait for him to turn, open up the bag once again, and walk past him. So this gym has invisible walls, and the path that I just took is the fastest path to Koga. The reason I was walking in a very like strange way is because there's walls along the outsides of that like entire path, and you just kind of have to just memorize the route to take. So saving in front of Koga, because Koga is once again a pretty scary fight, because he has a Muck that has Minimize, which does the same thing as Double Team, I believe. It might actually be stronger than Double Team. It might do 2 stages of evasion rather than 1, which Double Team does. But it doesn't really matter because we hit Surf anyway, so that's really good. And then the second reason why he's scary is because his 4th Pokemon is a Weezing, which is a 68% chance to 1-hit KO with Surf in Torrent. If we miss this range, he will probably use Sludge, and there's a good chance that we faint. But if we do faint, we have Revives, so I'm going to go for the range. It's a 68%. And we get the range, so that's perfect. That is really, really good. There's a very high chance that Sludge would have knocked us out, because we were at 35 HP, and Sludge can do 28 to 39. And it can also poison. And if it poisons, then we take poison damage on the same turn, and the poison damage would certainly get us to 0 HP. So it's not too fun when that happens. But just like getting the range is just the best thing. It's the best thing to happen. So now that we're done with Koga, we can give the gold teeth to the Warden. And he's like really, really happy. He says thank you. And he's so happy that he gives us HMO 4, which is strength, which we will use close to the very end of the run. So now we have to super repel. We have to heal. Although I think we actually are good HP anyway, so we don't have to do that. And we have to fly back to Pallet Town, because we have to head south on the water route to Cinnabar Island, which is where the next gym is. So using our newly acquired Surf HM, we can just kind of ride down this route without fighting anyone, and just kind of chilling. Okay, so now we are in the mansion on the island, and there's a few items you have to get in here, including the access key to the gym, because the gym is actually normally locked, and you need a special key to get in. So we have to find that key. And there's also a TM that we need, and that TM is very, very useful for the next segment of the game. So we have to grab the Carbos, which is an item that increases our Pokemon's base speed stat by a very small amount. But the amount it increases it by is actually ends up making a difference in a few fights. So we get this hidden elixir here. We have to talk to a bunch of the Mewtwo statues throughout the building, which unlocks all of like those like doors that you see. That's the TM that we need. And the very special item is the secret key. So Blizzard is very, very important, because there are a lot of Pokemon that can be one-hit KO'd by an Ice-type move with the power of Blizzard. So we have to say bye to Kick, finally, and we can say hello to a move that has less accuracy than Kick, actually. It's 70% instead of 75%. But the thing with Blizzard is we actually usually use X accuracies with it to make it 93% accurate. So that helps us a lot. It basically becomes the same accuracy as Tackle. So that's really good. So the Cinnabar Gym is interesting because you do not have to fight anyone except for the gym leader. There are these puzzles laid out around the gym, and if you can answer some of these questions correctly, you can just go on through. If you get them wrong, you have to fight the trainer, or you can just voluntarily fight the trainer if you want, and the door will open anyways. But of course, we want to just zoom through as fast as possible, so we just answer every question correctly. The order of correct answers for these puzzles are A, B, 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 A, B. So just spam A and spam B on their the ones that you're supposed to do that for, and you can get through very quickly. And this next question is my favorite because it asks us if TM28 is Tombstoney. TM28 is Dig, as we learned before from the Rocket Grunt in Cerulean City, who gave us the TM. And Tombstoney is not an actual move. At least I don't believe it is. So that is my favorite question out of all the questions. So fighting Blaine is pretty simple. All we have to do is use an X speed at the start so that we can outspeed, I believe it's Arcanine, and Rapidash. And then we can just spam Water Pulse, and we win. So we can spam Water Pulse in Torrent, or we can spam Surf without Torrent. Although Arcanine does need Surf with Torrent to 1-hit KO. Otherwise, it will survive with a little bit of HP. But since we're in Torrent, we have enough PP, and we have our X speed set up, we just spam A and win. So Arcanine has Intimidate, but it doesn't really matter because all of our moves now are special moves. So we get the Volcano badge from Blaine, and it gives us TM38, which is Fire Blast, I believe. Yes. Okay, so now we have to have a long walk out of the gym, where we will be approached by someone we've seen before. We will be approached by Bill, and he'll ask us to come to the Sevi Islands with him, where there is a side quest that we can do. That is actually mandatory to get access to the post game. Thankfully, we are doing any %, so we do not have to say yes. We can just say no, and he will wait in the Pokemon Center for us to come and see him when we want to leave. But for the purposes of this run, we do not have to do that. So that's really good. So now we fly back to Celadon, where we actually face chronologically, it's the 4th gym, but since it's grass type, it is overall safer and faster to just do the gyms that are easier first for Blastoise, and then coming back to the grass type gym when we have Blizzard, which is one of the reasons why we do it after Blizzard. So, although we are low HP, it's not really a problem because we can kind of sweep through a lot of this gym there are 2 trainers we have to face, and then we have to face the gym leader, Erica. And being in Torrent is actually pretty good here as well, because Erica's first Pokemon is a Victory Bell, and you would usually have to Blizzard this Victory Bell, which gives you a 30% chance of missing the move and taking damage. But if you're in Torrent, Surf in Torrent, despite being not very effective, is enough to 1-hit KO because of our like level difference. So it's actually very helpful to be in Torrent for this part. In terms of time, we're also doing pretty good on time, I think. We should be 225, 230 final time, so we're still doing good. Oops. I was busy drinking. Yeah, still doing good on time, and we can now just not have to worry about Victory Bell and using Blizzard, because we can just Surf in Torrent. So that's really nice. And then we level up, and she has 2 more Pokemon. She has a Tangela and a Vileplume. The Tangela we can actually heal on. I will Super Potion, just to be safe, because we have to Blizzard the Vileplume. And Vileplume, if we miss the Blizzard, Vileplume has Giga Drain, which does, it'll be about 25 to 32 damage, depending on the roll. And we would not survive that at 16 HP, of course. So that's why we just have to keep using Blizzard until we hit, and hope that we hit very, very soon. We have 2 more chances, and we hit. Good. So this is the only time in the game where we use Blizzard without an X accuracy. So every time from now on, we'll be at a 93% or a 100% accuracy, depending on if we use 1 or 2 during certain fights for safety, just to guarantee that it hits and we don't like faint. In a lot of these like upcoming fights, if you miss 1 move, you are likely to faint, because you are usually low enough HP and your opponents are strong enough to deal enough damage to knock you out. So after the Celadon Gym, we fly back to the the Poke Center, because it is faster than cutting like the tree again and like biking back around. And this is where the tea comes in handy, because we give it to the guard and he gives us access to Celadon City. Saffron City. So we can go from Celadon to Saffron. So now that we're in the Silphco building, which has been taken over by Team Rocket, once again, we have to... Oh, that's scary. Have to make sure that he doesn't see us. I believe he has 5 Pokemon as well, so we do not want to hit into him. And now we have to do a triple bag minute. So we do the first one there, get the card key, which will give us access to Giovanni when we fight him for a second time. Do the second bag minute, and then we have to wait for him to turn one more time. He turns, and we can do the third one. So we use the card to key to open the door, and then we can just run this way, and this will give us access to the next rival fight, as you see right here. But before we do that, I have to do a couple things. I have to use the Max Elixir that we got before, and I have to heal to around 60 to 70 HP. Although the notes say 60 to 70, I've actually found it's a lot easier to go to about 90, and then we save. So at this point, we want to have enough HP to survive 2 wing attacks from our rival's first Pokemon and a Dragon Rage attack from our rival's third Pokemon. which will usually be about 70 HP worth of damage sometimes. Something like that. So for this fight, we want to X special first. Then we use the X accuracy. And we are above 40 HP, which is perfect because Dragon Rage is a move that always does 40 HP and cannot critical hit. So we are just guaranteed to just win, I believe, at this point. Unless we miss Blizzard, which we do not, thank gosh. It's a 7% chance to miss, and Venusaur will just instantly use Razor Leaf, and if it hits, we faint. So that is probably the scariest moment of the fight. So now that we're on Gyarados, Gyarados' most damaging move, of course, is Dragon Rage. And it does 40 damage, so we are safe. And we Blizzard, we don't miss the Blizzard, and we win. So he still has Growlithe and Alakazam at this point, but they are both guaranteed to faint in one hit. So we don't really have to So we don't really have to worry about either of the Pokemon hurting us. And that is the 5th rival fight. So now he talks about going to the Pokemon League and becoming the champion. And he leaves. And we have to move on to fighting Giovanni for the 2nd time. So we see him right there, but there's still one Team Rocket member we have to fight first. He has a Cubone, a Drowsy, and Marowak. So we just kind of one-shot all of them with Water Pulse. And then we actually want to use a potion, probably, to heal for Giovanni. Because he still has Kangaskhan at this point. And Kangaskhan can do a decent amount of damage with Fake Out and... actually, all of his moves can be kind of damaging. So we want to be out of range of any like critical hits, stuff like that, while still being in Torrent. So it's safe, but it also doesn't really lose us that much time. So here, we will quickly use one of our potions that we have. We still have quite a lot, so that's good. And then we will save, just in case stuff goes wrong. Being in Torrent at this point as well is very helpful because the next 2 gyms will benefit from us having Torrent. The last 2 gyms of the game. So we want to like carry Torrent like the whole way through. For the next maybe 15 minutes of the run before the final portion comes up. Which of course is the Victory Road Elite 4 portion. Which is of course the Victory Road and Elite 4 portion of the run. Which is the most exciting, I'd say. So fighting Giovanni, 2nd time, we just spam Surf, and if we're in Torrent, we are guaranteed to win. Kangaskhan, though, is not guaranteed to faint in one hit, but the chances of us fainting from 40 HP are pretty low, and we get the range anyway. It's a 68% range, 11 and 16 at 28-29 special attack IV, and at 30 and 31 special attack IV, it's a 13-16. So it's more likely than not. And like the minimum special attack IV that you would usually run in a run like this is 28 for context. So you are always pretty safe. That man there would actually usually give us the Master Ball. Yeah, he would give us the Master Ball for like saving Silphco, but we don't actually need it. If this was a different category called Round 2, which is in like the same game, if we... Oh, that's the wrong tile. If this was the Round 2 category, we would actually need to catch Mewtwo at a certain point in the game to face the Elite Four for the 2nd time after doing the post-game stuff. So we would need the Master Ball, but for this run, we do not need the Master Ball. So we can just skip it and just move on. So fighting Sabrina, so the 7th gym leader, actually the 6th chronologically, I believe, but the 7th one which we fight in the run. She has a Kadabra, a Mr. Mime, a Venomoth, and an Alakazam. And what we want to do is use, we want to just surf the first 2 Pokemon, X speed on the Venomoth, and then that will allow us to outspeed Alakazam, which is her last Pokemon. So now that Venomoth comes out, we want to X speed. And the good thing about Venomoth is that it can't do that much damage to us. Psybeam usually does, Psybeam at most can do 15. With a critical, that would be 30. Because criticals are double the damage amount. And we have more than 30. So I believe we had 44 at that point, so we were guaranteed to be okay. There is a 10% chance to confuse with Psybeam, I believe. So there's a chance that it could have like gone wrong, but it's like the vast majority of times it's safe to use an X speed on Venomoth. So after the fight, we want to escape rope for the final time in the run, and now we have to head back to Viridian City. So we have to bike into the gym now, like this. And we have to fight 2 gym trainers, and then we can fight the gym leader. And there are some spinny tiles, once again. So this gym is actually the easiest gym in the game. All you have to do is spam Surf and Water Pulse, and you will win. If you aren't in Torrent, you have to spam Surf. If you are in Torrent, you can do Water Pulse for every Pokemon. So this is actually the easiest gym, despite being the last one that we face, and the hardest one in terms of like levels and like Pokemon that we fight. It ends up being just spam A for 5 minutes. So that's the first trainer. And the second trainer is right here. And then after that, we can just walk right to the gym leader. Okay, so here we can just Water Pulse everything in Torrent, and we are safe. I guess this would be a good time to like stretch, because I've kind of been sitting for almost 2 hours. So like this would usually be like a good time to like get up and stretch if you're doing like runs, and just kind of relax for a bit before the final 6 fights of the game, which are all kind of scary in their own way. So it'll be interesting to see how we do against everyone, because there's a lot of stuff with like RNG that can make you lose a lot of time with some of the fights. So we'll see if everything goes smoothly from here on out. Oops. Okay, so the gym leader is Giovanni for a 3rd time. We don't have to save in front of Giovanni because he is very, very easy to defeat with Blastoise. So we literally just Surf and Water Pulse, and we are guaranteed to win. Although it is preferred to Water Pulse because we kind of want at least 2 Surf PP for the upcoming fight after this gym. So we'll just Water Pulse and be okay. Coming up to 2 hours on the run as well. So just for some context, I believe the world record for this category is 1 hour and 59 minutes. And my PB is 2 hours and 6 minutes. So that's just like the difference between all of like the resetting I had to do and all of like the safety saving, all of the stuff that isn't the fastest but is the most consistent for a run in like a setting like a marathon. Yeah, that's just some like reference as to how fast like the world record run actually is. It's super quick. Okay, so here we actually want to use that full restore that we got back in the Safari Zone. And now we have to go through some 1% grass tiles. So let's hope we don't get an encounter. We don't. When I was practicing earlier today, I got an encounter. I got 2 encounters in this grass patch and the patch that you see after this fight. I had 2 within 10 1% tiles. So it was pretty interesting. It was pretty funny to see the Pokemon show up. So this is the 6th rival fight, and we have to X special twice, then X accuracy, and then we can start attacking. So I believe that is good. Oh, that is a critical hit. I don't think that matters. I think we're okay. If it's not okay, we can just heal. Probably. So we Blizzard. And this is a range to kill. It's a very likely range. It's an 87.5%, 14 out of 16. Or a 15 out of 16, which is a 93.75% to want to kill Venusaur. So we just bite Rhyhorn. And I actually have to see how much damage Gyarados does. I think we're okay to just bite Blizzard. If Gyarados uses Rain Dance here, which he does, we can bite Surf. And that basically makes it so that we don't have to risk a 7% miss when using Blizzard, because Surf is guaranteed to hit. Because Rain Dance increases the power of the water type moves that we have. So our rival and Gyarados actually helps us by doing that. So thank you very much. So now we have to X speed on the Growlithe. And we aren't X speeding for the Growlithe, we're X speeding for the Alakazam. And we have enough HP so that Growlithe isn't really too scary. And if they use like agility like they just did, then it's just like a free turn basically that we get. So using our last Surf PP, we defeat Alakazam and we defeat the rival. Okay. So now he wants to go to the Pokemon League, and we go through the grass. We don't get an encounter, which is good. And now we have to go through all of the badge checks. So now everyone is just making sure that we have all of the badges that we're supposed to have. And the music is pretty intense as well. So once we reach the water, we actually want to teach strength to Sandshrew instead of to Blastoise. So Sandshrew instantly learns it, so it saves us some time. And we also want to super repel. And these 3 super repels will last until the end of Victory Road, which is the last time that we need them. So we go this way, go through the grass. We try to not hit the boulders. Try not to bonk. And after all of the 8 badges have been verified, we go into Victory Road. And this is why we need strength. This is the only part in the game where we need strength during this run. And it is to push 4 boulders. And that is all we do in Victory Road. There are no trainers that we have to fight, so we just skip everybody and just push all of these boulders for a few minutes. Oops. We don't want to take too many extra steps though, because our super repels like barely last, I believe. So we don't want to like use any steps that we don't have to take, because we don't want any encounters that we don't need. I think we'll be fine though. Okay, so that's 2 out of 4. That trainer cannot see us. He can only look down and left. So we are safe by biking past them like that. This is a pretty... so this one is the longest boulder push. We have to move it like 25 tiles or something. Okay, nice. So that's the 3rd one. Oops. And then we have to go up here. Make sure not to walk into her line of vision. Every trainer here has like 3, 4, 5 Pokemon, and they're all pretty strong. So we kind of don't want to have to deal with them. There was a run that I was on a long time ago where it was PB pace, and I accidentally didn't move in a way that I was supposed to and turn left at a certain point, and I hit an optional trainer, and it made me really sad because it was a really good run, and every trainer has like, obviously, as I just said, a lot of Pokemon, and most of them are not one-hit KOs, and your PP is usually pretty low at this point anyway. You're usually almost out of surfs and water pulses, so it kind of just like, it really just is really bad for the run. Okay, so now we actually want to go to the PC, which might be kind of strange. You might be asking, why are we depositing Pokemon? And the first reason is to make sure that both of our Pokemon, our HM Pokemon, are in the PC. Because if our Pokemon are in the PC and not with us, not only will they not show up during the Hall of Fame cutscene, which saves time, but one of Bruno, who's one of the Elite Four members, one of his Pokemon, Onix, knows Roar. And Roar switches out your Pokemon for any other Pokemon in your party, and it forces it. And that really just, it like destroys any like setup that you do with like X items, because then you have to reapply the items. So it just like destroys the run. So that's why we do that. And we put Blastoise in the PC to heal Blastoise, because it's a faster heal than using the Pokemon Center. Okay, so Lorelei, the first Elite Four member, we have to do some counting. We have to count to 4, which is the amount of X items that we need to, the amount of X specials that we need to use. That's 1, that's 2. Ideally, you would want Dugong not to use Hail at any point during the setup, but it's very, very rare. It's referred to in the community as Hailless, and it's really fast. It's a 1 in 32 chance, I believe, during any fight, and it's really fast because all of the text saying it's hailing, like A is damaged by hail, doesn't show up for every turn. And over the course of multiple turns, that adds up to a lot of time. A lot of time saved or time lost. So ideally, we would want hailless, but it's okay that we got it. It's okay. So biting Dugong, getting the flinch is really good. Saves us 1 extra attack. And we want all the HP that we can get for her final Pokemon, which is Lapras. Oh, that was a crazy voice crack. Sorry. We want all the HP that we need for Lapras. Because Lapras knows Body Slam, and that is, not only is it powerful, but it can paralyze you. And it's just not a fun time. So, yeah. So we just kind of sweep through her, her whole team up until we get to Lapras. And we actually surf her Jinx instead of biting, even though bite's super effective because of the super effective text that I mentioned before. We get to level 52. And we say hello to Lapras. So Lapras is a 3-hit KO. We would prefer to just flinch twice. That would be perfect. So let's hope that happens. They use Body Slam. That's fine. Just don't paralyze. Ooh, okay. So yeah, we have to heal. Now, the reason why 4x specials is perfect for this fight is because not only does it like perfectly 2-hit KO Dugong and is enough to 1-hit KO everything else, but after using 2 bites on Lapras, they are low enough to activate their Citrus Berry, which puts them out of like heal range. So Lorelei won't use a full restore, which would cost a lot of time. So it actually ends up working perfectly using 4x specials for the first fight. For the second fight, I have to check my HP, and then I have to save. So fighting Bruno, there's 2 strategies that you can use. There's high HP and mid HP Bruno, and we will be doing the high HP strat, which is 2x specials and X speed, and then surf spam, and hoping that we are within Torrent. If we're not within Torrent, we have to keep setting up X items, which is why I bought a couple extra X specials, just in case, because I do not want to run out of items. If you run out of X items during this part, it's really hard to like even finish the run. You also want Rock Tomb to hit because you want to be in Torrent. And once Rock Tomb hits and you are slower than Onyx, Onyx will only use Earthquake, which means that we will be at a good HP, and we use the X speed, so now we're faster again, and we can just surf, spam, and win. There is one slight problem though, and that is Hitmonchan's Mach Punch will kill us from this HP. So we actually have to full restore. Usually we will have more HP than what Mach Punch does, but in this case, Mach Punch does about 30, and we have about 22 HP. So we actually have to set up an extra X item, which I forgot to do. Okay, this actually might be a reset, because I forgot that Rock Tomb lowers our speed. It was too many things to deal with. That was my bad. But that's why we save, so it's okay. Okay. So now we would like to do the same setup that we did before. We want to save the X speed for last, so that Onyx gets a chance to use Rock Tomb, which then guarantees that he'll use Earthquake before, as I said before. If we use the X speed right away, then there's a chance that he'll use Rock Tomb all the time, and then we will be in trouble. Okay, let's see. I actually don't know. So we might feint to Mach Punch, but he doesn't use it, so that's perfect. I believe there was a chance that we fainted, possibly. It's 28 to 34, so And the way that the AI calculates damage as well is it will do what's known as a pseudo roll, which is basically it'll like see Mach Punch. It'll be like, okay, let's see if this knocks Blastoise out. And if the roll that the pseudo roll does, that the game does, like in like the background, if that knocks out, then they'll try to use it. But just because the pseudo roll rolls an amount that will knock out Blastoise does not mean that the actual roll will do the same amount. So there is a chance that they won't even try to use it. They basically have to hit the range on us twice. So that's how the AI kind of works with stuff like that. So I have to check my HP a third time because I keep forgetting what I am. Keep forgetting my HP amount. 35 is perfect. That's okay. So we want to be in Torrent for fighting Agatha, who's the third Elite 4 member, and she specializes in ghost types. And her first Pokemon, a Gengar, knows Double Team. So we would prefer them to use Double Team once, and then us just hit through the Double Team. Okay, that's good. The alternative would be Shadow Punch, which would force us to heal, because Shadow Punch does about 30 damage. Okay, 2 Double Teams. This is probably a 60-something% chance to hit with Surf. And we hit. Perfect. Okay. That is a perfect fight. So now we just spam Surf and win. So now there's just 2 more fights to go. We have Lance, and we have the champion. And Lance can be made very, very consistent, like the fight. And then the champion is also not as scary as it may seem, being the final fight. So we are pretty good. Okay, so that is Agatha. And now we have this walk to the to Lance, who of course is a dragon type trainer. So we want to heal the full and then and then save. Okay. Okay, so there's also 2 ways that we can go about fighting Lance, although one of them is a lot more consistent and is a lot more likely to get the range on the first Gyarados. So we'll be going with the like the safe strat, I guess you can call it. So we have to X accuracy, and we also have to make sure that we are not within range to feint to Gyarados' Hyper Beam, which we are not. For 1 more turn. So hopefully we get a flinch. We do not. They Dragon Rage. We are now within range to feint. So they will be Hyper Beaming this turn, probably. But we just heal to counteract that. Okay, perfect. I thought that was a crit at first. I was about to be like... I was about to be sad. So now, we just Blizzard spam. And we should win. That like super like safe strat that I was talking about before, I believe, with Lance. I believe I mentioned this before. So with 1 X accuracy, Blizzard is 93% accuracy, but with 2, it's 100%. So we could have just healed again and used a 2nd X accuracy to guarantee that all these Blizzards will hit. But of course, it uses 1 extra turn, so I'll just kind of risk it, and risk these 7% misses. missing on the Dragonairs is fine. Missing on the Dragonite is really bad because I believe their Outrage attack and their Hyper Beam is like very strong. So if you miss on like the Dragonairs, they like safeguard. They don't really like hurt you that much. So so it's actually not too bad. Aerodactyl uses Wing Attack. That is the best move they can use because the alternate move is Ancient Power, which has a 10% chance to boost every one of their stats by one stage, by like one level. And if we're not in Torrent, they won't faint to a Surf, and then it becomes a real scary situation. So Wing Attack, not critting, is good. Okay, so for the final fight, we have a couple things to do. We have to Elixir to get all of our move PP back, and then we have to full restore. And then, of course, we have to do our final save. So once that's done, we can just walk right on in and start the fight. Okay, so we okay, so that's okay. So champion. So the first thing we have to do is use our guard, which will protect us from Feather Dance and Sand Attack, which this Pidgeot loves to use. This Pidgeot loves to use Sand Attack, and the more Sand Attacks they try to use, and Feather Dances that they try to use, means that we just have more HP, which is good. We don't actually need Torrent for this fight. Once we've set up to 3 special attacks, I mean 3 X specials, we are good to go. And I believe that's the 3rd one right there. We will get confirmation by the mist wearing off. Yep. Okay. So our guard item works just long enough for us to set up fully. So it's like perfect. And from here on out, we are pretty good. So with X accuracy, this Venusaur's only attacking move is Solar Beam, which requires a turn to charge. Therefore, we can X accuracy on the first turn and hope that we don't, and hope that we hit. And we do, and it is guaranteed to knock out Venusaur, so we don't have to worry. If we miss the Blizzard, Solar Beam is guaranteed to knock out, even from max HP, I'm pretty sure. So it's like really bad if you miss. It just like ends the run. You have to reset. But from this point on, we are pretty safe. Venusaur is the last real threat of the run in this fight. So Alakazam is a Surf. Rhydon is a Surf. Pretty easy. His last 2 Pokemon can pose a bit of a hassle in some cases. Can be a bit of a challenge if you get crit, but let's just not get crit and we'll be okay. So I'm actually going to heal the full here because there's no point of risking something. We are pretty safe to win from this point. The only way we lose is if we get crit twice. Hit. Perfect. Okay. So that is very good news that we hit that Blizzard because Arcanine's extreme speed, there's a chance that it can kill us if it crits. So they have to use it, which they do, and they have to crit with the range, and they don't crit. And we are in Torrent and at +3, and we can Surf and win. So yeah, that is Pokemon FireRed LeafGreen, any percent glitchless. Coming in under estimate is really good. I was originally going to set the estimate to like 220, but with the way RNG can work, it could easily have been 230, 240. So yeah. Wow, yeah. Once again, thank you for having me in this event. It's been super fun. I was pretty nervous coming into this. I didn't know how good I would do. I didn't know if I practiced enough or if I knew enough to be effective at explaining stuff. But hopefully I explained everything well, and hopefully everyone watching enjoyed it. And yeah, yeah, it's been really, really fun. So thank you to everyone who set this event up, and everyone who applied for a run, and everyone who did a run to make this all possible, and everyone who donated. I believe we're over $3,000 now, so that's really awesome.
You're correct. We raised $3,020.
And that is the time. I actually don't know what my hotkey is to... Oh, wait, actually I do. There we go. I had to be focused on the live split to stop it. It was like 2:21, 40 something. So yeah, that's the run. So that's when the timing ends on the first frame after the Hall of Fame cutscene. So yeah.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much for ending the Pixels for People Marathon with such a great run.
Thank you.
Are there any shout-outs you'd like to make to the Pokemon community, or just outside of the people you've already mentioned?
There's a lot of people, actually. So I guess first I would like to thank a streamer by the name of Gunner Maniac. Watching one of his Pokemon speedrun streams, got me interested in speedrunning and in the Pokemon speedruns as well. So that's kind of how I started, by watching some of his streams. I would also like to thank a couple of my viewers in my early streams when I used to run this game, who kept me company and obviously made it a lot easier to run by having some people to talk to and have fun with. The first person is Yami Cassie on Twitch, and the second person is Livion1 on Twitch. They were two of my first viewers who really supported me and helped me have a lot of fun with the category and the game and speedrunning and streaming and everything. And then finally, I would like to thank some of my friends on Discord who encouraged me to do the run in this marathon. When I was feeling kind of nervous, kind of anxious, they kind of inspired me to keep going. I would like to thank Lee, I'd like to thank Avocado, and I would like to thank Max, three of my close friends on Discord. And then I guess I'd like to thank you, Carter, for helping with all the schedule problems that me and you were having when I was trying to get into the marathon. You were very, very understanding and everything. So thanks to that and thanks to you, I was able to actually do the run. So yeah, I'm very glad I did. So thank you. And thank you to everyone watching and everyone who helped the marathon, as I said before. And that's it.
Thank you very much from me. And yeah, we're going to just jump to the intermission screen, and we're just going to speak a few words about the end of the marathon. I believe Ahmad is asleep. I don't know if Monker's actually here. We could probably get Monker in here as well. But we'll just talk about the event a little bit as the restreamers and...